stage, she's still doing her from the top as she does in the beginning there.
Privilege, and the mental health care is health care, period. But for millions of Americans, care for mental health and substance use conditions is still hard to find and hard to afford. Today, the Biden-Harris administration is taking a step forward, changing that by placing new requirements on health plans that will improve and strengthen access to mental health care for 175 million Americans with private health insurance. For the president, it's simple. If you have a mental health crisis, you should be able to access the care that you need, the same way you access care for a broken bone or a heart attack. Addressing mental health crisis is a key priority for this president, for this administration, and the steps being taken today will dramatically expand access to mental health care in America. And finally, later this afternoon, the president will be joined by elected officials and advocates to celebrate the 31st anniversary of the Americans with Disability Act and mark Disability Pride Month. One of the president's first acts as a U.S. senator was co-sponsoring the Rehabilitation Act, which banned discrimination on the basis of disability by any entity funded by the federal government and paved the way for the Americans with Disability Act. Since taking office, President Biden and Vice President Harris have carried the same commitment to ensuring disabled Americans are treated with dignity, respect, and inclusion, are able to live and thrive in their communities. Under the president, under this administration, the Biden-Harris administration, Americans with disabilities have seen historic increases in employment and earnings, and the administration has taken significant steps to protect civil rights and promote full participation in society. And that work will continue. With that, I will turn it over to my colleague, Admiral John Kirby, who's here to take some questions on the House Foreign Affairs Committee's report released yesterday on the Afghanistan withdrawal. With that, Admiral?
Captain Hot Dog Fingers, I hate you.
Good evening, everybody.
Hit that like button, hooligans.
As you saw today, House Republicans released their investigation report into Afghanistan withdrawal. This comes, of course, 2 years after their first report, and this one says little or nothing new. We've already issued comment about the one-sided partisan nature of this report, so I'm not going to belabor that right now, but I do think a brief rundown of actual facts is important. First, on the very day this administration took office, the Taliban was in the strongest position it had been in years, and the Afghan government the weakest. The Trump administration cut a deal called the Doha Agreement that mandated a complete U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, and yes, that included Bagram Air Base, by the end of May 2021. That deal also released 5,000 Taliban fighters from prison. 5,000 fighters. In return, the Taliban agreed not to attack U.S. troops, which is a good thing because the former president reduced our presence in Afghanistan from about 14,000 down to 2,500. As General Frank McKenzie, former commander of U.S. Central Command, said himself in testimony, the Doha deal had a, quote, really pernicious effect, unquote, on the Afghan government and military. As we saw, it demoralized them and it disenfranchised them. They knew right then and there that America was on its way out. Indeed, in October of 2020, then President Trump ordered his military to rush the exit from Afghanistan and have everybody leave by Christmas of that year. President Biden, for his part, faced a stark choice when he came to office. Abide by the flawed agreement and end America's longest war, or blow up the deal, extend the war, and see a much smaller contingent of American troops back in combat with the Taliban. He chose the former, and he was able to buy additional time to prepare for that withdrawal all the way into the summer. And we as a nation are safer for it. Any and every discussion about what happened in Afghanistan has to start right there. Sadly, the report does not dwell on it. Now, there's some other falsehoods, too many to mention, but a few do stand out, and I'd like to tick them off if you don't mind. One, there was, in fact, planning for evacuations, planning that started in the spring of 2021 and included all the requisite agencies. In fact, the Department of Defense pre-positioned military units in the region so that once a decision had been reached to evacuate, they would be poised to respond in a timely fashion. Two, There was no fine-tuned assessment of how fast things would unfold in August of 2021. It all moved a lot faster than anyone anticipated. As the Taliban moved in, Afghan forces stopped fighting, and the Ghani government fled. As then chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley said, quote, "Nothing that I saw indicated a collapse of this army and this government in 11 days," end quote. 3. There was no point in securing Bagram Air Base.
Damn, Kirby, you can't count to 3?
Doing so would not only have required thousands of additional U.S. troops, but also would have required a dangerous trek by evacuees over Taliban-controlled territory, making the evacuation even more difficult to execute than it already was. 4. There was no handover of U.S. equipment to the Taliban. That equipment had been provided to Afghan security forces appropriately and with congressional approval over the course of 2 decades of war. That equipment was left by those Afghan forces when they surrendered or stopped fighting. And 5, there was no deception, lying, or lack of transparency by this administration, either during or after the withdrawal. We did the best we could every day to keep the American people informed of what was happening. We conducted our own after-action reports and shared those too with the public. And as I mentioned, we cooperated extensively in this investigation, and we continue to work with the War Commission. Ending wars is more difficult than starting them. President Biden knew that. He acknowledged that. But it doesn't mean that the decision to end this one was wrong, or that the withdrawal wasn't conducted as professionally and as bravely as was humanly possible given the circumstances. It doesn't mean we don't grieve and mourn with the families of those whose lives were tragically taken during the withdrawal, especially at Abbey Gate on the 26th of August.
I'm waiting for Professor Dumbledore here to turn over to Kirby and be like, "You're a wizard, Kirby."
Thousands of men and women who waged this war over the course of 20
Any moment now, I'm sure.
diplomats, intelligence experts, contractors, and civilian employees from this and dozens of other nations. They accomplished the mission for which they were sent to Afghanistan. They helped make us a safer nation. Sadly, 2,461 of them did not make it home. And many of those who did still struggle with the wounds of war, seen and unseen. As the President has said, we owe them and their families a debt of gratitude that can never be fully repaid. But now that the war is over, our nation can better focus on other pressing national security interests around the world. We would do well in all this partisan rancor over the withdrawal to remember that. Let me take some questions.
Thanks, Admiral. It's been reported that Iran has sent short-range ballistic missiles to Russia for use in Ukraine. Can you confirm that this transfer happened, and how concerning is this?
I cannot confirm the reports that the transfer has happened, but I would point you to what we've said in the past, that any such provision of that kind of technology would not only have a deleterious effect on the Ukrainians' ability to continue to defend themselves, and certainly on the lives and livelihoods of Ukrainians, but could, depending on what the deal, how it's consummated, have equally deleterious effects on the Middle East. And Iran, that already has an improving ballistic missile program, we could only assume would want to stand to gain from some sort of partnership with Russia to improve their capabilities in the region. And of course, given all their destabilizing activities, that's a dangerous outcome.
And is the White House prepared to increase pressure on Netanyahu to accept a ceasefire deal, potentially doing something similar as the United Kingdom in terms of withholding more weapons?
I can't think of anything we haven't put more pressure on ourselves on than to try to get this deal. And we still, I think I just drew on myself. I think we know how urgent this is. And we're working night and day to try to see if we can get a deal in place. Hamas is the main obstacle to this right now.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Admiral. A couple of things. Firstly, on Afghanistan, so would you argue that the withdrawal is...
We got Jackie today.
There were failings involved in that?
I point you to the after-action report, where I think we've been very clear about the planning efforts and the execution of the plan. No plan of any operation whatsoever ever goes exactly according to the dictates by which you laid it out. Clearly, there were moments of great violence, and there were moments of mission execution that didn't go exactly the way we wanted it to go. I mean, nobody's walked away from that. But in the main, we were able to get 120,000 some odd folks out of there safely with an airplane taking off about once every hour. And again, we've laid it all out in an after-action report that the State Department did, that the Department of Defense did, that we did here.
And sorry, just very briefly on the point about Keir Starmer's visit and Gaza. I mean, is the president going to be pressing Prime Minister Starmer to perhaps reverse his decision on the arms sales, or conversely, might he be seeking some advice about about how the US might do that and halt arms?
We're looking forward to the visit. There's an awful lot to discuss. I think you can expect the Prime Minister and the President to talk about what's going on in Ukraine, what's talking about the Middle East, even in the Indo-Pacific. This isn't about twisting arms or trying to change minds. The British government has made their determination about arms provisions to Israel. We respect that. That's for them to speak to. This is about how we move together as principal allies and good friends on a range of foreign policy issues. And I think it's fair to say that that as part of this meeting on Friday, it will focus heavily on an extended agenda of foreign policy issues, expanded agenda.
Admiral, there have been requests, or there have been signals from congressional Republicans they'd like to continue this investigation into what happened in Afghanistan. Has the White House received any more requests for people to testify? Would they entertain them?
I'm not aware of any additional requests for more testimony.
Has anyone from the White House or the broader administration been invited to tomorrow's gold medal ceremony for the families of the 13 service members?
There will be quite a few from the Department of Defense, both in terms of active duty admirals and generals and civilian political appointees in high leadership positions that'll be there.
And on the going back to sort of accountability and after action, was anyone ever held accountable by the president directly for what happened with the withdrawal in Afghanistan? And if not, remind the audience why not.
We have all held ourselves accountable for the progress of the withdrawal across the administration, and it was a true interagency effort to get those 120,000 people out and to make sure we removed our diplomats and our military personnel safely. As I said, Ed, not everything went according to plan. Nothing ever does. And we mourn the loss of those 13 lives at Abbey Gate every single day here. Their sacrifice is not forgotten. But again, we hold ourselves all accountable for that.
One other part of the world, because there's been some movement regarding Venezuela just in the last day. The opposition candidate, Mundo Gonzalez, is now in Spain seeking, or expected to be granted political asylum. There's been a lot written, reported in the last few days about what the administration may or may not be trying to do to get Maduro to leave by the end of the year before his next term would begin, even though the U.S. and others don't necessarily think he has. What is the latest on what the U.S. is trying to do, and would they ever help Gonzalez come back to Venezuela?
I don't get into hypotheticals one way or another about Mr. Gonzalez and what his future might be. He wouldn't have had to seek political asylum if he wasn't accused of trumped-up, ridiculous charges and forced in that manner to flee his own country. What needs to happen next is Mr. Maduro needs to heed the call of the international community and, quite frankly, the Venezuelan people, and release the data so that the whole world can see what the Venezuelan people, who they voted for, and that their democratic aspirations are met. We have in the past, you've seen, levied sanctions against Mr. Maduro and his regime. I don't have any announcements today, but I can tell you we're constantly looking at what our options could be going forward, depending on the decisions that Maduro makes.
And does the White House anticipate any surge in illegal border crossings or attempts to do so because of the instability in Venezuela?
Haven't seen that play out. I mean, obviously we'll watch this as closely as we can. As you well know, the numbers at the southern border have reduced and reduced significantly in the past months, but have not seen any indications of a surge coming out of Venezuela.
John, China said that they'll be holding joint naval and air drills with Russia starting this month. What's the level of concern from the administration that these two countries are cooperating? Is this a sign of deepening cooperation?
I think it is, sure. We've been watching this defense relationship grow and deepen over the last couple of years to include the exercise of their militaries in both air, at sea, even on the ground. So we'll watch it like we watch all exercises, but I don't. These are two nations that don't have a long history of working well together. Certainly not militarily. These are two nations that don't necessarily fully trust one another in the region or beyond, around the world. So I see no reason for us to change our own military posture or deterrent posture as a result of this exercise. This is a long planned exercise. It's a part of their regimen. So we'll watch it and monitor, but there's no, there's no dramatic, imminent concern about it.
All right, just a couple more. Go ahead.
Thank you, John. Firstly, on China, there are a raft of bills up for vote in Congress this week that have to do with keeping China from accessing Inflation Reduction Act funding, that limit their EV market, that try to counter their influence on culture. Are these things that the administration supports? And do we expect to see these carried through in the Harris administration?
Well, let's see where it goes. I don't like to talk about draft legislation one way or the other.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Afghanistan then. Chairman McCall drew a direct line and countered something you just said, which is you said they helped make us a safer nation. He believes that the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Right, Jackie. Do you need a minute? He argues that the withdrawal from Afghanistan has in fact made the United States more susceptible to terrorism because of those prisoners released from Bagram. What can you say to the American people to assure them that this administration is trying to keep them safe, and how safe are they?
Boy, just go on CENTCOM's website. Look at the press releases that they send every time they take out a leader of ISIS or an al-Qaeda leader. We have proven the case about over-the-horizon counterterrorism capability to a fairly well. Now, that doesn't mean we're sitting back, resting fat, dumb, and happy. That's the kind of capability you have to keep working at and keep trying to improve, and we are. I think it's also important.
Did you just say fat, dumb, and happy? I'm pretty sure that's body shaming. Cancel him. Just go ahead and cancel Kirby.
President Putin, President Xi, they would have loved that. But now, because we're not in a ground war in Afghanistan, a ground war for which the original mission had long since been accomplished, we're able to focus on those more modern and relevant threats to our national security posed by nation states and non-nation states around the world. But as for counterterrorism capability, again, we have proven time and time again that we are able to monitor the threat and deal with the threat, sometimes in near real time if need be. Not taking it for granted, not saying we don't always have to keep sharpening it, but believe me, we're focused on it.
All right, just a couple more. Go ahead.
Administration officials have said that after the 6 hostages were killed earlier this month that Hamas changed the terms of the deal. Did Hamas explicitly tell mediators that there are new terms, that they want more prisoners released? And would you still characterize negotiations as on the verge of a ceasefire and hostage deal?
To your first question, yes, Hamas did change some of the terms of the exchange, and that has made it more difficult for us to get there. I'm sorry, your second question was?
Would you still characterize the deal as on the verge?
We still believe that even for the new amendments that Hamas has made, that it's still worth an effort to try to see if we can't get back into a ceasefire negotiation, but we're not there right now.
Sir, there's a report that the president's convening his national security team on this issue today. Obviously, it's not on his public schedule. Is there anything more you can say about who he's bringing in or what he's doing, or is this part of the ongoing conversation?
I think there was a little bit of a miscommunication, Kelly. What was being referred to was his normal presidential daily briefing where he's presented with the intelligence of the day and has a chance to speak to some members of his national security team when he does that. It was not a major NSC meeting.
Thanks, John. The American citizen who was killed in the West Bank on Friday, Aysen Ege, has the president had a chance to speak to her family at all? And do you have any sense of where the investigation stands? I know that you all had asked for the ball to get rolling on an investigation to her death. Do you know if there are any updates on that?
He has not spoken to the family as of yet. I don't have a call to talk about today. Obviously, we continue to mourn with her family, of course. The Israelis have reached out, made sure that we knew that they were promptly investigating this. As I understand it from just before I came out here, they are moving swiftly on this investigation and will soon, we think, in coming days be able to present their findings and conclusions. We'll obviously withhold our judgment until we see that. We've called for a complete, thorough, swift, and transparent investigation. We'll see we'll see what they learn.
Okay, final question, go ahead.
Oh, hi, thank you. Do you have any response to Russian drones violating NATO member states, Latvia and Romania over the weekend?
I think you're talking about reports that parts of drones, I think, have landed in Allied territory, if you will. This is unfortunately not a new development. It has happened over the course of the war in Ukraine, where missile fragments or drone fragments sometimes get caught up in the combat, in the air combat, and land in a neighboring nation. We watch that closely, as you might imagine. We're in close touch with our allies and partners about that. But it just underscores the danger that Mr. Putin's war in Ukraine has now caused to the whole European continent, and the fact that the security landscape has changed. Not is changing, not will change, but actually has changed, which is why we're doing everything we can to make sure Ukraine can defend itself.
All right, thank you so much, Admiral. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
And just run away.
Hey, all right.
All right.
Hi, Chris. It's been a while. It actually has been a while, right?
Who dressed you today?
Question, first of all, on the war in Gaza. The UN Secretary General said the UN was willing to monitor any ceasefire.
Is that Mia Khalifa in the
The
background?
White House is interested in perhaps taking them up on that offer.
Say that one more
The
time.
UN Secretary General said the UN would monitor any ceasefire deal. Is the White House interested in taking them up on that offer?
Look, as you know, there is, and the Admiral just spoke to this as well, we're continuing to have those conversations. We continue to want to make sure, right, that we get these hostages home. We want to make sure that we have an end to this war. That's what the President has said. And so we are pursuing certainly all efforts, is something that the President said, to secure a deal that would release, again, the hostages that are being held by Hamas. We cannot forget that the murder of the 6 hostages by Hamas and has actually put us in a place where this is incredibly, even the urgency is even more clear, right? And the new demands they've made have called into questions, right? Hamas's readiness to do any deal at all, and the sincerity of the negotiations. And that's what we see. So, even though we're hearing that, we want to continue to talk about the next steps with our co-mediators. This is Egypt and Qatar, and that's what we're doing. That's the focus. That's what the President believes in order. The best path forward is to get this hostage deal, and that's what the President wants to see.
The Vice President is preparing for a debate tomorrow night with Donald Trump. Has the President spoken to the Vice President about the upcoming debate? And also, does he plan to watch it tomorrow night?
So I can say, and I think I confirmed this last week in either a gaggle or at the briefing, which is that the President is going to watch the debate. He's looking forward to watching the debate.
It's going to be 9 p.m. He ain't watching shit.
Preview or confirm any conversations between the President and the Vice President. As you know, they speak often. The President is incredibly proud of the Vice President. I just don't have anything to share beyond that. But
I hear she's lubing her vocal cords in preparation for the debate.
Watching for me.
I'm not going to get into details, but he'll be watching. He'll be obviously supporting the Vice President in her debate. I just don't have anything else to add to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you confirm reports that the President is hoping to establish a U.S. sovereign wealth fund and give any estimated time of announcement for that?
So I certainly don't have anything to announce from here. But look, the President has worked to unlock investments here at home and abroad that benefit our economy, right? The economy.
The sign language person looks like it goes by Rick on the weekends.
To do in the past 3.5 years. I just don't have anything to announce at this time.
Thank you. With Congress back today, can you just give us the broad White House view on the state of government funding negotiations? And obviously you issued the veto threat on the House Republicans' proposal, but with that dead on arrival in the Senate.
So a couple of things. I think the SAP went out, so certainly would direct you to that came out of this administration. But with the end of the fiscal year rapidly approaching, obviously by the end of this month in September, Congress needs to pass a short-term continuing resolution to provide more time to pass full-year funding bills. We urge Congress to do this quickly, to pass this quickly, to keep the government open. It is really easy. It's like their number one job. They know how to do this to keep the government open and provide that emergency funding for disaster needs. I just talked about that at the top, about the needs that we're having just right now out west, as they have done on a bipartisan basis. They've done this before, many times in the past. They need to get this done. The proposal from House Republicans is not a solution. It's just not. It contains a partisan poison bill, would erode our national defense, undermine our competition with China, fail our veterans and seniors, abandon communities struck by disasters, and hurt programs that support small businesses while making healthy tax cheats pay what they owe. So House Republicans should stop wasting time. I've said this many times before, repeat it at this podium, and to do their jobs for the American people by keeping the government open. It is a simple job. It's their number one job as Congress, is to keep the government open, and we believe it should be with a short-term CR. Okay, Selena.
On that point about government funding, how is the White House engaging with the Hill on this? And does the president have any plans to meet with congressional leaders in the coming days?
So I'll take the first question. OMB, Leg Affairs Office, are in close touch with House and Senate leadership on the need to pass a short-term CR to keep the government open. And I laid out what it would do if we didn't, and what it would erode, example, for our national security, as we just had the National Security Council rep here. We're coordinating with Democratic leadership on the best path forward for a short-term CR. And so this is something that, again, they need to do right away. They've done it before, many times before, in a bipartisan way. It is their number one job. Again, OMB and our Leg Affairs Office. And to your second question, the president speaks regularly with congressional leaders and gets updated regularly as well from his staff. And Congress knows how to do this. They do. They know how to do this. This is the most basic thing. Most basic part of their job is to keep the government open. So they know this. They don't need to hear from the president on this directly. They know this. They know this. And they can do it in a bipartisan way, as they have in the past.
And on the debate, when's the last time that President Biden spoke to Vice President Harris? And do they plan to speak again before she takes the stage tomorrow night? And just anything you could share about the advice or words of encouragement, or just what those conversations have been like?
I'm not gonna detail any private conversation that the president.
Look at that! It's almost exact. It's almost the same exact outfit.
Not debate. It's not something that I'm gonna do at all. But I don't have a readout of the last conversation that they've had.
Puff and Stuff called it.
Watching, he supports, obviously, the vice president, is very proud of her, and I just don't have anything else to add.
And will the president be watching with staff or his family tomorrow night?
The president will definitely be watching. I know I will. I know you all will. I don't have anything beyond that. Yeah, Jackie.
Thank you, Corinne. 31% of...
Good job on...
Thank you. It had wings and now it's dead. 31% of... I killed a bug. You're welcome.
It was very
anyway.
It was very dramatic. I know, and the job was done. The job was indeed done.
Thank you.
You got the job done, for sure.
Thank you. 31% of registered voters said in a New York Times Siena poll that they still need to learn more about Vice President Harris. So why is she spending so much time trying to define Trump and link him to Project 2025 rather than define herself?
I mean, look, those questions, obviously, those are campaign questions. You would have to ask the campaign, and that is for them to speak to. And what I will say is, what I can say is that as far as contrast, the contrast can't be more clear. It couldn't be more clear. If you think about 4 years ago, America was reeling. It was reeling in a once-in-a-generation pandemic. It was isolated from the world stage. Crime was up. The middle class was sidelined. We saw an insurrection on January 6th in 2021 that the former president led.
It was not an insurrection, you dumb bitch.
And you think about today, where we are today,
her own people held a trial on that. It was not an insurrection.
Economy in the world. You hear the comeback stories in places like Milwaukee, to Dayton, to Scranton, Pennsylvania. And so we have done what people said we couldn't do, which is turn the economy around, turn the country around, be a leader on the world stage. And I think it's important for Americans to know and to be reminded where we were and where we are. And look, And the president certainly agrees with her. He agrees with her, her leadership, her policy decisions. He agrees with her when it comes to making sure that, we need to make sure that we stop what Maganomics, right? When you think about the $4,000 tax hike on working Americans. You mentioned Project 2025. That's something Republicans support. Is a radical idea.
Just lying. Just blatantly lying.
That's going to do more harm to the American people.
Trump has repeatedly disavowed it, distanced himself from it. I mean,
and I said Republicans. That's something that Republicans support.
So this is not
like who
anymore being cast as something that Trump embraces. You just get that straight.
I mean, look, you asked me a couple things. You asked me about the contrast, why she continues to make the contrast. You have to talk to the campaign on her strategy and how they're moving forward. I laid out for you the contrast could not be more clear where we were when we walked into this administration, when the president walked into the administration, where we are today. And that's because of this leadership of this administration, the Biden-Harris administration. Project 25 is something that Republicans, I'm not going to speak to the president.
It's not relevant.
But that Republicans are pushing. It's a radical idea. We're talking about more radical abortion bans, cuts to law enforcement, cuts to education, repealing Affordable Care Act, and repealing the Inflation Reduction Act, which, by the way, beats Big Pharma, which is something that many elected officials tried to do and couldn't get done. The Biden-Harris administration tried to get it done. That's what I can speak to, and that's just a reality. That's what's in that agenda. That's what Republicans are pushing.
So what?
And that's what I can lay out for you.
To the campaign, but the campaign's not holding regular briefings. They don't have a forum, a Q&A forum like we have here, and you're the spokesperson for the Biden-Harris administration.
I literally just answered your question on why the contrast could be more clear. I just answered your question about Project 25 and what it's trying to do and what Republicans are supporting.
Nobody asked about Project 2025, you dumb bitch.
I asked, but I do appreciate the answer.
No, you asked me why the vice president's campaign, the Harris campaign, is not doing X, Y, and Z. I said to you, you gotta talk to the vice president's campaign, and that is.
You gotta just talk to the vice president. Just call her up.
You know that. That is, I can't answer that question.
How about I try one different way?
But I can talk to contrast. You asked me about contrast, and I just.
Semantics.
I appreciate that. Does President Biden define Vice President Harris as a progressive Democrat?
Look, the vice president has been a critical partner to this president. All you got to do is look at the record and what we have been able to do in the past 3.5 years, the Biden-Harris administration's been able to do. You think about the economy, you think about health care, and you think about these really important generation-changing legislation that are now laws, obviously. I just talked about beating Big Pharma. That's important. That was the Inflation Reduction Act that only Democrats voted for. Now Republicans want to repeal. They want to take that away. Taking away lowering cost for the American people. And so, to be clear, lowering cost on medical care and pharmaceutical drugs and also energy bills, right? That's two really big part of the Inflation Reduction Act. The president is not going to be labeling the vice president. She has her policies that she is obviously that he's in line with. That she has put forth in the past week or so. He supports her. He believes in her leadership, and that's what I can share with you.
We are allowing for a contrast with Trump, but not a contrast with other Democrats, because Senator Bernie Sanders, for instance, said that he still views her as a progressive Democrat. He said that she's, in fact, not abandoning her ideals, but making a pragmatic play toward the center to win the election. And that sends a chill down the spine of some people who might be in the middle or to the center right, considering her. And when she's been trying to position herself as a more moderate figure now than she was in 2020, where does she stand exactly?
So, first of all, the senator is going to speak for himself. That's for him to speak to.
You notice KJP's not saying, look at her policies, and you'll be able to tell what kind of candidate she is.
Believes in her leadership and believes in her bold policy agenda. That is.
What is the agenda, bitch?
Right? And we're talking about strengthening the middle class. That's what we believe her bold policy agenda continues to do. And that's important. You hear the president talking about building economy from the bottom up, middle out, and strengthening the middle class. We're in line. more economic opportunity. The president wants to see that. And we're talking about the tax cuts for working people, fighting corporate pricing gouging, lowering costs, having the wealthy pay their fair share. We're in line. We're in line with what the vice president is putting forth. Her bold policy agenda to make sure
What is it?
we do not leave people behind. I'm not going to stand here and label the vice president. The senator
Not gonna leave people behind. You talking about border crossers?
What I can say is the president agrees with her bold policy agenda and her leadership. Wait, did I just call on you?
Get this bitch a spoon, cause she can eat shit.
Go ahead, Garrett.
The Congressional Black Caucus today released its corporate accountability report on diversity, equity, and inclusion. It asks corporate organizations to reaffirm their commitments to DEI, update on racial equity investments, and work with the CBC to create legislative solutions that will help close the racial wealth gap. Does the administration have a reaction to this report? Have they engaged with the CBC or advised them about this report at all?
So it just came out. We hadn't had a chance to review the report, but this is something that this administration believes, how diversity is our strength. You hear the president say this, and that is something that the president believes, and that is true whether it's in schools, our military, or businesses. It is important, and it is true for our government. Where he has assembled the most diverse presidential administration in history. That is something that this president and this vice president has done. And just a couple of things. In June, when senior White House officials, they were able to welcome business executive and civil rights leaders to the White House for a discussion on ensuring how Americans have access to economic opportunities. That wasn't that long ago, just a couple of months ago. And at that event, business leaders joined civil rights leaders and congressional staff to share best practices and actions that will protect and create pathways to opportunity. So this is an administration that understands that it is important to not leave any communities behind. And I
To think about skin color and not the merit of their character. Yeah, we know.
Those communities who have felt behind, like they were left behind, are now included in the process. They're included in our policies. They're included in our legislation. They're included in how we move forward, even in executive actions, right? And this is the president that takes that very seriously. He also believes it's important to have those different voices at the table, hence having a very diverse, the most diverse administration. And so while we haven't gone through the study, what we can say, we believe diversity is indeed our strength. It is important to continue to do that work, and that's what you're going to see from this administration.
CBC is also, as you know, hosting their annual legislative conference this week. And the president is hosting a Black Excellence Brunch on Friday. Was that intentionally planned for this week with CBC? And what can you share about the president's remarks that he will be giving?
Yeah, so not going to get ahead of his remarks. The president's looking very much forward to holding that brunch here, the Black Excellence Brunch here on the South Lawn on Friday, as you just said. But I could share a little bit just more broadly. You can expect the president to speak about the enormous contribution that Black Americans have made to this nation. You've heard the president say that before as well. And continuing our efforts, as I just stated moments ago, about making sure that there are opportunities for all Americans, including Black Americans. So that is something that the president certainly, I think, will touch on, and you will hear more from him on Friday.
Is the president or vice president attending the Phoenix Awards and giving remarks this year?
We'll have more to share in a couple of days. We'll have more to share. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, on mental health parity, enforcement's long been an issue, and many plans haven't complied with requirements over the years. Does the administration plan to be more aggressive in terms of enforcement going forward on this?
Well, anything that's might be the legalities of it, I'm just not going to get into hypotheticals. It's obviously an issue that's very important to us. It's a great step forward when we talk about the mental health parity, and it's a parity, right? Healthcare, mental health, it should be healthcare. And so we're going to certainly continue to make sure that effort is a key part of this administration in the next 4 or 5 months. Any legal stuff, I'm just not going to get into hypotheticals or anything like that, but this will continue to be a priority that I can continue to be very clear on. Kat Kellyo.
How would you describe the way in which in briefings and in other White House communications since July 21st, you reference the vice president more. We hear now more Biden-Harris administration, when if we look back, it would have been much more focused on just the president. So as you do that, how do you describe the importance of, in this official way, talking about her and linking her to the accomplishments? So.
Look, I think it is important for Americans to know that the vice president has played a very big role in the success of this administration over the last 3.5 years. And we have said this before, even before July 21st, how much of a partner she's been, a critical partner. It is not the first time that we've said it. Maybe we're saying it more, to your point, but we've been pretty consistent in saying that their partnership is important, and how she has had even a critical role. If you think about some of these historic pieces of legislation where she was that vote, the vote that she made in the Senate, helped pass that.
The vote that she made in the Senate. What are you saying? Stupid. KGP is so stupid.
I think it is important to note how much of a key partner that she's been.
She's been hanging out with Harris, you can tell.
He wants us to make clear to the American people that Vice President Harris has been here from day one, obviously, and has had a leadership role, and will continue to do that.
And do you see that as a part of her introducing herself to the country, which is something her campaign has talked about, but again, in this official lane?
No, I get the official lane. Look, I don't want to get into murky waters here by getting into her own strategy. That is certainly something for her to speak to. But we want to make sure that people understand, the American people understand, that this continues to be a partnership. This is a partnership, and we've said that before. We've said that throughout the last 3.5 years, and the president respects her leadership. He respects her bold policy ideas, as I was speaking to Jackie about back and forth moments ago, and he supports that. And I think it's important for the American people to understand that, to be very clear, and that's one thing that we want to be very clear about from here. Go ahead, in the back.
The Office of Management and Budget has asked federal agencies to start thinking about the transition, that regardless of where we are in a couple months and who wins, there's going to be some kind of transition. How are you all thinking about that? How is the president thinking about that? Especially given, I know at the beginning of this administration, a frequent refrain from your office was, we didn't have a lot of help during the transition from agencies within the government, people within the government. How are you all thinking about what you want that to look like?
So let me just state this first so that folks who are watching understand, because I know you all understand this. What is happening right now is common. It is not unusual. It is something that every administration at this point, who are clearly coming to the end of their administration, have to do. So it's a common process, nothing unusual there. I'm sure we will have more to share to your question, but the president, look, when it comes to the job that he has had for the last 3.5 years, almost 4 years, he takes that very seriously. He takes everything that he does, everything that comes out of this administration very seriously, because it's about the American people. It's not about him. And in order to have a successful government, he has to have that leadership to make sure it's a successful government, right? It doesn't matter for him or whoever is next. So I'm certain we'll have more to share. But again, it's not unusual. The president's always going to do what's right for the American people, and this is part of that.
The last transition was, you're talking about how it's not unusual for government to start thinking about this, but the last transition was anything but usual.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing. But that's not going to be what this president does.
Has he given any specific guidance? Has your colleagues begun thinking about how you want to make it different? I mean, 4 years ago was not normal for a lot of reasons.
You are exactly right. I'm not disagreeing with you, and we do not want to go back there, right? We do not want that. We do not want to repeat what we saw the last time around in the last administration. It should not be about someone's personal agenda. It should be about the American people. And
Look, Dumbledore's back.
Anything, especially these last past couple of months from this president, is that he cares. He puts the American people first, and that's how, in your question, that's what he's going to do. He's going to do what's right for the American people, and how do we move forward in the way that we put them first. That's the best that I can answer that for you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks, Corinne. Good to see you. I think that the White House makes former President Trump's comments over the weekend saying, when I win, those people who cheated in elections in 2020 and 2024 will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Have you seen those comments? Has the President seen those comments? And what do you think of them?
I could say I have not spoken to the president about those types of comments. Look, and I want to be careful because obviously he's saying it as
What did the guy even ask?
campaign capacity, but that type of rhetoric is dangerous. This is not who we are as a country. This is a democracy.
What, is this a communist country or something? I thought this is America.
And so that's what the president believes. That type of rhetoric is coming from, a former president, is dangerous. I mean, we saw what happened on January 6th in 2021. 2,000 people went to the Capitol. Some of your colleagues reported on this. Some of your colleagues were there. Law enforcement members were attacked.
Now describe J13.
It was a dark day in our country because our democracy was attacked. And they went there because they were told that they should overturn an election, a free and fair election, where dozens of Republican judges said that it was indeed a free and fair election. And so that type of rhetoric is dangerous and
I mean, it's kind of hard to make that definition without holding an audit, but okay.
Just a quick question on voters in particular. As the president makes some outreach to black lawmakers, I wonder if he's going to make some outreach to black voters specifically. Both campaigns are working to do that in states like Georgia.
Yeah.
And perhaps some of that economic message is getting lost with some black voters. If you talk to them, they have a different picture of the Trump economy than they do the Biden economy, so to speak. How's the president, the vice president going to talk directly to black voters about the economic issues at hand?
So I got to be careful because you're asking me about a strategic play, a campaign play, when you're saying voters, black voters in particular, in your question here. So you would have to ask the campaign specifically on how they're going to do that, what their outreach is going to be.
Why did he call it Biden's economy, so to speak?
And I hear the question, so
it's not the same thing as comparing it to Trump's economy. Like it's different somehow.
I can't speak to a strategy here, but it is what you have seen this president, this administration do, cabinet secretaries, this president, obviously the vice president in her official capacity, is that we try to go out there, right? We go out there, we meet the American people where they are. We talk about what we have done in this administration over 3.5 years. We talk about how we've been able to rebuild the economy. We've talked about how we're leading the economy in the world, right? The strongest economy in the world. And it is not done by accident. It was not by accident, right? It is because the president and Democrats in Congress, when you think about the American Rescue Plan, which helped turn things around, put checks in pockets, right? We're able to do that. Put shots in arms, right? So we can deal with the once in a generation.
Ew, don't say that shit.
It's not easy, but we were able to.
Have you been to San Francisco? Those people are putting shots in their arms. Don't you worry.
Some Americans are not feeling that. Yeah, we get that. We understand. That's why the president is going to continue to talk about ways to lower cost. You saw the president and the vice president recently, a couple of weeks ago, or just last week, a couple of weeks ago, talk about how the drugs that are going to be lowered in cost because they were able to beat Big Pharma. And so now Medicare is able to do those negotiations. That matters. That matters to Americans. So we're just going to have to continue to talk about it, let Americans know. I can't speak to the campaign strategy. That's something that they'll speak to. But the president believes it's also his job to communicate directly with the American people and to.
Then why does he never do it?
The economy, the healthcare, climate change, even on the world stage, and how we're being in our leadership and how we're leading in that way. And so, it's continued. We're going to continue to do that. Be out there.
Recently, the U.S. identified the first case of H5N1 in a person that had no known animal contact. And I wonder if that changes the posture of the White House's pandemic office, or if there's any updates as to how the administration is tackling this outbreak.
So look, we take all of this very, very seriously. So what we're going to continue to do is continue to monitor and help states where it's needed, right? Assist where it's needed. I don't have an update for you, but obviously our number one priority when it comes to the pandemic office and also other White House offices and what we're trying to do here.
The pandemic office. Like, we need a fucking office for that.
Safe. In communities out there, and so we're going to monitor it. I don't have an update for you here at this time, but we take this very, very seriously.
Remember when they used to say it was a 100-year disaster? And now we got a pandemic office?
The Biden-Harris administration. The Biden-Harris administration has been touting manufacturing jobs for the past year. But the last jobs report showed that manufacturing lost 24,000 jobs. And the trend over the past 3 months has been a loss of 11,000 jobs per month on average in manufacturing. So why is it going the wrong direction?
So look, we pay attention obviously to all these reports. What we also want to do, yes, we pay attention to reports, we pay attention to data, but we also want to make sure it's taken into context. And so we can't lose that as well. A couple of things, manufacturing investment has hit all-time highs for 6 consecutive quarters. That's important. Factory construction has more than doubled to an all-time high, and it takes time for factories to build and to be built, and also manufacturing jobs to be created. And so we've created over 1.6 million jobs in manufacturing and construction. So you got to put this all into context. And we've seen businesses invest more than $900 billion in manufacturing and clean energy. And one analyst said, and I quote them, "After years of inaction, America is now building factories at a rapid rate." And
thank you so much, Flea Speech, for that $10 donation on Rumble. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support.
That's something that you can see from this administration.
So you need more time? Is there a time frame as to when those jobs will materialize?
I don't have a time frame for you, but what I can say is we got to take them all into context, right? We do. Like, data is important. We pay attention to reports, but we can't miss what we've seen the last 6 months, right? Consecutive 6 months as well. We can't discount the investment that this administration has been able to make into manufacturing, right? We can't discount the 1.6 million jobs that have been created. That is important. The $900 billion in investment, we can't discount any of that, right? That has to be put into the context as we're looking at this particular question that you're asking me about manufacturing jobs. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Prostitute.
All right, hooligans. KJP. Run, run, run. God, she was lying her face off. All right, let me see here. Snook, she needs a refresher course on lying. I'm just no longer feeling it. She just sounds wrong. That's what it is. She sounds like she doesn't know what she's talking about. I mean, she always sounds like she never knows what she's talking about. But she just sounds blatantly wrong. When she's saying stuff, it's like, wait a minute, we watched it live. That's not what happened there, you crazy lady. She just sounds misinformed. Either way, let's see where we are in the schedule there. Holy, you need to cleanse the palate. Let's get a couple of these. Yes, gotta cleanse that palate. I can still hear her voice lying in my head. Alright, where are we? So we covered Tulsi Gabbard right before we did the reset because we were having buffering. We haven't had any buffering so far, so hopefully it stays that way. Apparently a little reset of the modem and router did the trick. Not KJP or Harris, different tricks. Anyways, next up we have Hyena Harris publicly bragged about importing another 100,000 Haitian border crossers, saying they needed the support. Well, now they're all feasting on the wildlife out in Ohio. All of that's coming up next. But first, we're going to read through the chat really quick and see what you hooligans are saying about KJP. Now, before we do that, I want to remind you guys, if you would like to participate in Free Speech Saturday, make sure you post all of your memes over on Discord or on jeffmaclive.com. Just hop in the group chats on either platform. You'll see the tabs labeled memes. Drop what you got and we'll shout you out as we're making Saturdays more fun. I'm going to read through the chat really quick and hear all your FUs to KJP. And then we'll get on to this next video here on how Hyena Harris unleashed 100,000 border crossers on Ohio. Well, only like 20,000 of them made it to Ohio. The other 80,000 are just somewhere scattered across the country, which is really nice. Breeze by you, KJP is completely useless. I agree. What is she good for? The only time she's like, when she's not in the press briefing room, she's imitating what she thinks is black behavior. You'll see her like pretend to be all ghetto and stuff, kind of like you see Harris doing. And then she gets in front of the reporters at the press briefing room and tries to be all professional, but she lies her face off. Everything she's saying is just not true. It's just simply not true. They spent way too much time talking about Project 2025, which isn't relevant. It's just completely not relevant. It has nothing to do with anything, and they're just talking. And it's crazy because a lot of people have just read through Project 2025 just to see what is it actually about, and after they read it, they kind of agree with it. So I mean, just bad publicity for themselves. Either way, reading through. Russell, Springfield, Ohio is like an hour and a half away from me. Holy, Russell, you be safe out there. Those Haitians, they're out there. Keep your pets indoors. Just saying. Cassandra, I feel like my IQ dropped a couple points. See, I hope there's a limit. You know how many press briefings I've seen? I don't think I got points to spare. Holy. Sam, pretty much the whole POTUS admin has sounded like that since the beginning. Yeah. Yep, where is old man Walter? I mean, I know he's been on the beach, but he's like not even relevant anymore. They just talk about Harris and Trump. It's like Biden's not even a thing anymore. Livid review Reaper peppers to take the taste out. I mean, I guess. I don't even know if that'll reach it. It might not reach it. You have to take 2. Klaus Daniels, I know she's not coming back. Don't you worry. She's gone for the day. Breeze by you, Springfield's an hour and a half away. Holy. Era 16, you live in Springfield and it's really bad right now. You be safe out there, because these videos that we have coming up next, these people do not sound excited about the things happening there. AR-16, did bananas grow in DC? Well, the Republic does. The Banana Republic. Way where the situation in Springfield is crazy. Lockland, Ohio is bad. Yep. What's really interesting is there's nothing about it on YouTube. It's all over Twitter. People can't talk enough about Haitians eating pets and stuff on Twitter, but then on YouTube, everyone's talking about the debate. Alistair, Biden has been talking with Harris every day. KJP said it, so it must be true. Yeah, Alistair. I wonder if old man Walter can still talk. What if his, condition has gotten so worse he can't even really stammer words anymore? We wouldn't know because we don't ever hear from him. Pag, yeah, we're 20 million illegals deep. Well, like 6 months ago, Tucker Carlson was saying we had 22 million illegals. So, like, who knows what it's like now? We're probably closer to 25, if not closer to 30. It's not good. It's not good. Lee Guitarman, my animals are like my kids. If someone did that here, they'd be asking the police to arrest them. Yeah, Lee Guitarman. I couldn't imagine somebody trying to grab a hold of Klaus Daniels thinking they were going to take a bite out of him like a Big Mac. No way. No way. Wouldn't do that. What's up, Two Ruby Shoes? Happy Freedom. Enemy Adventure, I'm also less than an hour from Springfield. Should we form and protest Ohioans? I don't. Oh, yeah. Well, you guys could. You could. I guess there was a town hall meeting. One of these clips is from that, and people are not happy. They're not happy. What's up, Zanny? Happy Freedom. I try. We're all watching this together, and we can't hear what's going on if I'm talking all over the press briefing. Yeah, I know. Sassy Patriot. Oh, wow, it is the same outfit. KJP was wearing Jim Carrey's outfit from The Mask. It was like almost identical. I couldn't believe it. What's up, Cheeky Chops? Happy Freedom. All right, hooligans, I think we're going to get into the thing. What? Thoughtbot, I slapped KJP in the cooler. Don't do that, Thoughtbot. You go wash your hands. Go wash your hands, my goodness. I was wondering what smelled like turtle tank. Anyways, this first one here of the three, we might run these back to back. We'll see. This first one is titled, Kamala Harris publicly bragged about importing another 100,000 Haitian migrants, but they're not migrants, they're border crossers, saying that they need support. They need support. We need support too. Someone tell Harris we need support too. We need it stat. We need her to go ahead and leave the country. Anyways, let's get this rolling. Don't forget, hit that like button over on Rumble.
That is why, also, starting with our administration, we gave TPS, temporary protected status, to Haitian migrants, 55,000. And then more recently, we extended temporary protected status to over 100,000 Haitian migrants for that very reason, that they need support, they need protection.
Who's going to protect us from the Haitians? They need protection. Oh, do they? All right. So we'll get right into this next video. It's titled, They're Eating the Neighbor's Cat. They needed support. They need protection. Do they get it from eating cats? Is that how that works? That's what happens when you import the third world. You become the third world.
What did you do? Why'd you kill the cat? Smile for me. Smile over teeth. Go like this. Did you eat that cat? Did you eat it? No, why'd you kill it? Did you guys see all this?
No, we pulled up and she was just laying there with it.
Did you see her eating it?
Eating it.
She was eating it?
Yeah, she was.
You call the Humane Society, see if they'll come pick this cat up. It's deceased. What did you...
Like talking to a dog. Did you eat it? It's like, did you eat it? It's like, that wasn't me. Ask the neighbor, she's eating the cat. They're like, yeah, she's eating the cat. Like, monsters. These people are monsters. It's not poor people. These are monsters that they have unleashed on us. That's what's going on. So let's add some context to all of this instead of little cheap jabs here and there. Pull this video up. This is titled, Springfield, Ohio residents are sounding the alarm.
Kind of odd that like a guy like me has to come out from doing what I do on a daily basis to have fun, because I see what's going on in these streets, and I see you guys just sitting up there in them comfy chairs and suits, and I'm getting out here every day and I'm broadcasting this, and you guys are just sitting up there in suits or something. Like, I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something. These Haitians are running into trash cans, they're running into buildings, they're running into they flipping cars in the middle of the street. I don't know how, like, y'all can be comfortable with this. Like, I don't know, like, who's getting paid from it. I honestly feel like someone's getting paid from it in the background. You got a bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTimed me this morning at the welfare office that really need something. And it's nothing but immigrants over there. And I don't even want to, seem like I'm coming down on the immigrants, because it's the people that's bringing them down here, because wherever they're at, that's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them. Like, y'all get the Highway State Patrol down here every week, and then y'all get like a task force for the Highway State Patrol, and they look for guns and they look for dope and this and that and the fourth. That same people that y'all got riding up and down Limestone doing U-turns, pulling people over for blinkers and pulling people over for going left to center and a couple miles over, y'all can take them same people, the Highway State Patrol, and you can take them in every single one of their silver Chargers and Dodge Durangos, and y'all can take them to Sunset, and y'all can park them right over there, and y'all can teach people how to drive, since the Highway State Patrol knows so much about traffic laws and know what to do in traffic. Y'all pay them. They can go over there and teach these Haitians how to drive, because it's getting I'm getting thousands of views on these, and it's going to get bigger, and it's only going to get worse. And y'all sitting up there in these chairs, all y'all need to get out here and do something. Y'all making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Y'all need to put on a t-shirt and some Crocs, and then y'all need to come out here in these streets, and y'all need to go out here and I'm out here before the police is. Y'all need to do something, bro. Y'all really got to stand on business. Y'all getting paid all this money just to wear a suit and sit in a chair. I think it's I think it's crazy, bro. We got to do something, bro. It's kids out here getting hurt. Like, only reason I even went on here and said something about it is because somebody told me they walking from the school and a Haitian almost ran into them. And who is getting paid? Like, how much money is y'all really getting paid, like, to bring them over here? Like, I know it's deeper than them. I know that's where they come from, and that's what they do. That's their country. I don't know what they got going on over there, but they can't do that over here. And if y'all just getting paid from it and then y'all ain't doing nothing about it, I think that's super weird, bro. Y'all got to stand on business. Y'all got to really, like, step up. Like, it's lame, bro. Like, for real.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
I think he was 100%. I think what he was saying was 100%. He was not messing around. He was telling him exactly how it is. He's like, I don't know how much money you're getting paid. He's like, but he's kind of insinuating, like, you must be getting paid so much that you're willing to look the other way. You're willing to come here and tell us what we're supposed to do and arrest us and give us tickets and stuff. Meanwhile, you got third world country here nailing the ducks out of the pond. I couldn't even imagine what that's like, because you guys know I live right next to Lake Michigan. We have all kinds of marinas and stuff where I live. It is very common to see ducks and geese and swans and all that, but I ain't never seen anyone pluck one out of the water, knock its head off, and then start walking down the street and eating it. I've never seen that before. Hopefully I don't have to see it. We need mass deportation. That's what we need. We need to elect President Trump November 5th so I don't have to watch anybody eat a damn duck out of the damn marina. Holy. I think that guy did very well speaking in front of those people, but you heard the response. They were, oh, thanks for your comment. Yep, one ear and out the other. That's how it goes. So I don't know. Maybe people in Springfield, Ohio should protest. I mean, they already went to the town hall meeting or whatever that was, and it doesn't seem like they care. So I don't know. And of course, they want to make it look like racism. That's what's all over Twitter right now. If you say anything about these Haitians eating your cat, well, you're a racist. We talk about this all the time. They've watered that word down so much that it's like, good. Good. They say the same thing. You talk bad about shapeshifters. You don't like dudes in dresses, you're a bigot. Good. Good. I'll put it on my profile then. You'll know when you scroll past me. You'll know what you're dealing with, you pieces of shit. Worth anything. Worth less. Anyways, let me see what we got next. I was thinking about adding this video here. There is a manhunt going on in Kentucky. I think we'll go ahead and we'll cover this next. I'm adding it in because I'm not ready for the live to be over. Either way, we are going to read through the chat really quick and see what you hooligans think about the Haitians in Ohio that are eating the wilderness. Snooks, they showed gangs in Haiti during a lot of the fires and rioting, eating a human leg, effing cannibals. That's what a lot of people are saying, Snooks, is that those Haitians aren't just going to eat the animals. Like, a lot of people are saying, what happens when they can't eat, when there's no more animals to eat? And they keep saying that because they will eat each other. They will eat us. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. We got border crossers that are kidnapping, raping, and killing kids and women. They're breaking into houses. Some of them are squatting. Others are stealing stuff from the house and then going to red states and selling what they stole. And now we have Haitians here that are eating cats, ducks, and potentially locals. It's like, how much has to happen before people start losing their marbles? And I think that's what the government is testing. And I mean, I didn't even mention the Venezuelan gangs. So it's like, we're being attacked on all fronts. But as soon as vigilante justice sets in, which is the only justice we're going to see because look at how shit's going, when that happens, then they'll say white supreme pizza's reigning in the streets. That's what they'll say, but I don't know what else the other options are. Now, I don't want anybody to do anything bad or illegal. I want everyone to be happy and whole. But how much are we supposed to take? It's weird that we're like one of the only countries, if not the only country, where we have armed citizens and we're getting raped out here. Literally. That doesn't make any sense to me. We're being invaded, getting raped, and just not doing anything about it. I don't know. I prefer to be proactive, but I'm not sure what the legal route is in this situation. Either way, reading through the chat. Snooks, I prefer not to be eaten that way. Well, I'm kind of in the same boat. What I wonder, though, is if you came into conflict with somebody that was going to eat you and you win that conflict, do you have to eat them out of spite, or is that just me being petty? Anyways. and it booping the panther or whatever that is. That's what it's like hanging out with Klaus Daniels. Pretty much. Big Klaus Panther. Breeze by you, they could be sent back where they came from if they're here illegally. If legal, then they have to learn to live like Americans. Yeah, Breeze by you. Well, I think they're here illegally, but they're trying to give them mass amnesty. That's Hyena Harris's plan. Cassandra, I want to get a Jaguar. They probably eat a lot. I would imagine. Sam, hunting and fishing without a license is illegal too. Yeah, and that's stupid. Guess I'm buying a male lion. Fuck them. Yeah, let them see how that goes. They're gonna break into the wrong backyard. That's what's gonna happen. Matt, poaching is a felony. I don't really know what poaching is. I've heard of it. Obviously, I live in an area where everybody goes hunting. I don't hunt though, so I don't really know what poaching is. But if it has to do with snatching ducks out of a pond, pretty sure that's what they're doing. Breeze by you, we have geese all over the place, and they are protected. If you do something bad or eat one, it's prison time. Interesting, Breeze by you. I wonder if it's like that up here too. I've never had an interest in going after wildlife. Never wanted to smoke wildlife for any reason. I mean, if I was going to eat the deer, I'd go shoot the deer. But I never wanted to shoot the deer until it ran in front of my Subaru. Then I had reasons to shoot it, but I never wanted to shoot a duck or a goose or a swan. I don't really know if they're protected or not. Sam, if I got up there and said that, I'd be called a racist. Just saying, I was born a poor white child. Yeah, see, and they don't understand. They don't understand, Sam. Live review, regular black man calling them out. Let's see, calling them out, they're about to shut it down because everyone sees through the smoke screen. Yeah, live review. They couldn't call him a racist. It doesn't work. So they couldn't call him a racist. They had to say, well, thank you for your comments after you called us out in our suits and our puffy chairs. Breeze by you, he was spot on. I think so too. I think it was sharp as a tack. He was transparent. Zero, is this the meeting they shut down halfway through? It could be. I didn't hear anything about the meeting being called off, but there's not a lot of context around all of this. Live review, y'all sitting there in your chairs getting paid. Yep, called him right out. They probably bitched about it too right afterwards. They were like, who's that guy think he is? Mr. Beans of Beans, I'd rather poach eggs than animals. I always hated making poached eggs. I used to work at a breakfast restaurant. I'd have to cook breakfast till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon while my manager came and threatened to stab me every day. Hated it. She'd go in there and blow up dishes and you need to make these eggs better, da-da-da. I hated making poached eggs. I've never even eaten them because I'm just biased. I'm biased at this point. Cassandra, I'm not sure why they leave their barbaric country only to come here and act like barbarians. Cassandra, it's because they don't know any different. That's why when you see people come out of town and they come to your area, they act like they own the place. That's because that's how they act at home. I live in a really big tourist area, so people come from out of town the whole summertime. In the winter, it's a ghost town, but in the summertime, people come here and just leave trash everywhere and destroy everything. And I mean, not like BLM does it, but just being lazy and sloppy. And it's because they're bringing their home with them when they come here. It's just the way it is. Guess I'm The Deer Hunter, starring Jeff Mack. Mm-hmm. Green Falcon, 2 illegal aliens killed a bald eagle and ate it. This is highly illegal. Yeah, Green Falcon. And that was like over a year ago when that happened. And see, they don't even talk about that. And that was one of the first things I thought of when I heard that they had, there's an image going around, maybe I'll find it in a second. There's an image of a Haitian walking around with a goose. He's got a goose in his hand. He's just walking down the sidewalk with a goose in his hand. And that was the first thing I thought of, was that when the border crossers first started popping up in the news, they were one of the first videos we covered. Like, we had been covering the border, but one of the first border crosser crime videos that we'd covered is when they shot the eagle down. I don't remember how they did it, with a pellet gun or a rock or something. They had shot an eagle down and then ate it, and then the officer went out there and didn't do anything and let them go. And that's when we started realizing how things were going to go around here. When they can eat a bald eagle and nothing bad happens, what can't they do, you know? Green Falcon, you saw it on BitChute. We covered it. I'll try and find it. DCAT, it's not petty, it's just basic instinct. I'm just saying, do unto others as they would do unto you. Yeah, DCAT. That's how I feel sometimes. I'm like, don't threaten to eat me. I'll sit here and eat you in front of your kids. What's up, CSW? Happy freedom. Reading through the chat. Silver Wolf, I will eliminate anyone who tries to eat Klaus. I couldn't imagine somebody trying to get Klaus. Thank God Klaus is elusive. That's dark lightning over there. It's hard to catch him. It's hard to catch him. I see somebody chasing my cat around. It'd be the last thing they ever do. Alistair, why go to the grocery store and spend that government money when you got all this wildlife at the park? Just saying. Yeah, Alistair. Well, see, they need those EBT cards for when the cartel comes through, because the cartel will actually do something to them, and they don't want that. So when the cartel comes by, they're like, hey, here, buddy, here's your EBT card. I've been chewing on ducks for the last week. It's all good. Eating a toddler and whatnot. I don't know. It's not good. It's not good. Mr. B. New in Michigan, it is a federal crime to even have a hawk or bald eagle feather. I didn't know that, Mr. B. New. That is really interesting. I didn't know you couldn't even have their feathers. Dabs, it's just crazy. It's taken this for people to see what is coming. Dabs, and most people don't even believe it. Most people don't believe it. It's crazy how many people will defend the lies. They will just defend the lies. You tell them about border crossers, they don't hear you. They hear you say that you're a racist. That's what they heard. When you say there's propaganda and the person that they think they're going to vote for is a bad person that was placed by the government and the decision was taken away from them, and it's all done by propaganda, to them that means that you don't like the news that you heard. Like, they will defend the lies. They will defend the poison they're drinking. And it's ridiculous. It's hard. Once you know what's going on, it is so hard to watch people consume the poison and defend it at the same time. Like we say all the time, it is easier to trick somebody than it is to explain to them that they have been tricked. And ever since somebody brought that phrase to my attention, I see it everywhere and I hate it. I hate it because I just see a bunch of tricked people. And I try to tell them, I got links, I got receipts, I got thousands of hours of videos. And they're like, nah. I'm like, okay, well, enjoy being lied to. Enjoy being lied to. But when the border crossers are knocking on your door and eating your kids, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. Try to tell you. Here's the game plan. You don't want to hear it? Okay. Pumpkin, they can voodoo their way right back where they came from. Yeah, and things are going to get worse before they get better, unfortunately. That's a Find to Fix It. Happy freedom. Find to Fix It. That chick was out of her mind. Yeah, she's over there chewing on a cat. Not the fun kind. Not the way KJP does it. Lee Guitar Man, go watch any videos from the parks in any of these countries. You won't even see a bird. I believe it, Lee Guitar Man, because the locals are a threat to the wildlife. The Marquis, the Voodoos and Don'ts. They should write a book. Independent. Having an eagle feather is illegal in Oregon, too. That's interesting. I can't believe I never knew that. Donna, they're wreaking havoc with small business. Yeah. The Voodoos and Don'ts. This sounds like a Halloween t-shirt. Well, we'll just go ahead and pull this random video up. I didn't have it on the schedule. I had considered it earlier, but like I said, I'm not ready for the live to be over yet. So we're going to go ahead and cover this. This is titled, Authorities Vow Relentless Search as Manhunt for Interstate Shooter Enters Third Day in Kentucky. Apparently this guy had just opened fire on the road or something like that and shot like 13 vehicles and all this stuff. Nobody knows anything at all. To me, it sounds like a stunt. It sounds like a stunt, but I have not heard anyone talk about this. And so I don't know if it is or not. I'm trying to keep my thoughts to myself until I know more. But it sounds like a giant gun stunt to me. Anyways, let's get this rolling. Once again, this is Authorities Vow Relentless Search as Manhunt for Interstate Shooter enters its third day in Kentucky.
Manhunt is underway in Kentucky. Police are searching for a gunman accused of randomly shooting at cars on a highway. Law enforcement is looking for 32-year-old Joseph Couch, who is suspected to have fired multiple rounds at random into traffic around 5:30 Saturday evening. At least 5 people were shot, including one victim who was hit in the head. All are expected to survive. Near the highway, investigators say they found an AR-15 rifle, several loaded magazines, and a silver SUV registered to Couch with a rifle case inside.
You're familiar with the area. Describe it for me.
It's a lot of jagged rocks, cliff sides, and then there's caves. And some of these caves are very deep. So it makes it very difficult in our search, even for the dogs.
Officials say the suspect bought the recovered rifle legally before the shooting on Saturday and was not on law enforcement's radar.
So that video wasn't very informative, but the shooter was also a part of the National Guard or something like that for 4 years. I don't know if they mentioned that in that video. I watched 3 videos on it, but I couldn't get enough context to make it seem worthwhile to show it. They don't have any motive. They don't say where he lived. They don't say who lived with him, if he had anybody else in the house. They don't say where he traveled from, like where was he going when he got out of the vehicle and decided to start shooting at random cars. All they say is he had an AR-style rifle and he was shooting at people and he's on the run. And that's all they know. They don't know anything else. And I don't understand that. They got a picture of his face. They know his full name. No talk of his neighborhood. No talk of going to his house. They have everything they need to raid his house. They could raid the house and see, is there motives there? No, they didn't even think of that. That's what I'm saying. There's something weird about this story. It sounds made up. It sounds just blatantly made up. Like, hey, there was a shooting in the living room. 13 people died, even though I live here alone with my giant cat. 30 people dead. We're looking for the shooter. What? What? I think his name was Thomas. He was white and loved Trump. Like, what? It sounds so weird to me. Sounds so weird, and I don't want to start it like that, but you guys tell me. Does that sound weird to you? Because it sounds kind of weird to me. Anyways, we're going to read through the chat really quick. Let me see where we are in the schedule. The only news we have left isn't even really news. It's a message from President Trump, obviously talking bad about the current administration. And then after that, we got the good stuff. Now, before we hop in the chat, I want to remind you guys really quick. If you would like to join the membership program over on Rumble, all you have to do is click that big red subscribe button right below where you type in the chat. Now, if you're on Android and you're using the Rumble app, go to rumble.com, come to the live, hop in the chat, and like I said, right below where you type in the chat, you will see that big red subscribe button. Click that button and jump through the hoops, and your name will be highlighted as an official Rumble Hooligan. You'll have access to all of our custom emojis. We have chapstick emojis, scream and goat emojis, Klaus Daniels emojis, President Trump emojis, and more. It's a lot of fun during the live, especially during a Trump live, so definitely go join the membership program over on Rumble. We're going to read through the chat really quick and see what you hooligans think about the highway shooter or whatever he is, and then we will move forward. Snooks, the shooter was arrested in February of this year for terrorist threats, 3rd degree. Weird, because they just said he doesn't have a criminal background at all. And all 3 videos I've watched have said that too. Said that he's never been in trouble with the law and that he served the military for 4 years. Interesting. Breeze by you, it always comes down to them wanting to take everyone's guns, but they won't ever get the criminals, so it's completely useless. Yeah, Breeze by you. Yep. And that's the thing. It's always a publicity stunt, whether it's something that actually happened or not. It turns into one giant commercial of, let's forfeit our Second Amendment. Well, not forfeit, but they want to take it from us. It's like, it really undermines the emotion of what happened. You know, school shooting happens. Everybody thinks, what if that was my kid? What if it happened here? Oh no. And before you can complete your thoughts, there's Harris and everybody on TV going, yeah, we need to ban all the assault rifles. And it's like, oh, this is about taking our rights away. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we won't grieve for the dead people. Guess we won't worry about how to make stuff safe. We'll just wait till election season to see if you want to do gun bans or not. Like, it's stupid. It's stupid. Stupid behavior. These aren't stupid people. It's just stupid behavior. Livid Review, we don't know much, but it was an AR that we want to disarm you from. That's right, Livid Review. Zero, the ad on Rumble when I opened my phone just now. Hunting sniper. What the fuck? They knew what was going on, Zero. They knew. I guess there's some White Supreme Pizza ad rolling around Twitter right now, and everybody's all mad about it. It's got the logo from Patriot Front, which I didn't even realize they had a logo, but apparently it's got that logo, and it's titled something like Whites Against Replacement or something like that, but X is letting them run the ad, and I guess it's a White Supreme Pizza ad. I don't know. I just know if they can run racist ads, then I have a pretty good chance of running ads on X, so I should really look into that. I can't run ads on any platform because what I do is considered political. Just reading through, we'll get on to this next one. Livid Review, same with the I-10 shooter. What? Let me see. I seen you saying something about it earlier. What is the I-10 shooter? I can't remember. That's how it all turns out, though. It's like it doesn't even matter what the story is, because it all ends with us having to forfeit our guns because some yahoo went out there and did some bad stuff. Guess then you do Sandy Hook commercials for 10 million. Yeah. Mr. B. New, I just got an ad for bald eagle recipes. You stop that. You stop that. Goodness. Can't cook them poached, can you? That's terrible. Rappy, in Tennessee, I think they're going to start arming teachers. Yeah, we covered a video on that and said that they had to go through 2 days of training and get approval by the local police department. And as long as they got that approval, they can conceal carry in the school. I think all states should be doing that right now. What's really frustrating is when you talk about that online and seeing the comments underneath from soft and stupid people who are like, oh, you want teachers shooting kids? No. I want there to be other guns in the building in case a bad guy with a gun walks in. Because the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. That's why we need to get rid of gun-free zones. That's the dumbest thing. That's the most un-American thing we have in the country is gun-free zones. A place where we're going to disarm law-abiding citizens. Doesn't make any sense. Literally does not make any sense. DCAT. Did you hear that Dershowitz left the Democratic Party? I'm just saying it's kind of obvious where this country is going, more conservative. DCAT, I don't know who that is. I don't really know any Democrats other than the loud ones we see on TV. But A lot of people are leaving the blue party because it's not blue. It's communism. They're not Democrats. Those are commies. And a lot of Democrats are seeing that, like Democrats who have brains and wieners still intact. They're seeing that it's commies and they don't want a part of that. So they're ending up over on Trump's side. Rainey, I'm probably saying your name wrong, but I'll volunteer at my son's school as an armed mom. Well, there you go. There you go. Yeah, this whole disarmed American stuff doesn't it doesn't make any sense. Everybody should have guns and should know how to use them and know how to store them and to be safe with them. They're a tool, like a hammer or a screwdriver. That's all it is. It's a tool. It's a shield. It's to keep you safe. Mine is considered and identifies as a medical device. So I could take it wherever I want to. Because there's no laws on bringing your medical device anywhere with you. And it's there to save my life. So I'll be damned if it's not a medical device. Anyways. Prison Hug, this ain't your grandfather's Democratic Party. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And you know, that really hits home too, because I've talked to a lot of people, and you know me. You know me, running around calling them Democrats kid fuckers and stuff. And I was talking to some people that I know, and they were kind of feeling some type of way about me talking like that. And I was like, well, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I got receipts in my pocket. I will show you I'm right. And they're like, well, yeah, no, I know you're right, but my dad always voted Democrat. And I was like, well, yeah, both my grandparents that raised me, both were diehard Democrats. And they always voted Democrat. But I asked them when I was young, why do you vote Democrat? Because I didn't care either way. And they were like, well, you know, my family's always voted Democrat. And the more old people I talk to, that's their excuse. Well, it's always been that way. I just do it because it's always been like that. But if you look at the way things are now, those people aren't Democrats. Those are commies. Those are commies. And now my grandparents are dead. But I would love to ask them, who would you vote for today? Would you vote for Democrats because it's always been this way? Or would you vote for Trump because that's the right thing to do for America? And I think they would vote for Trump. I really do. They were smart. They were smart people. They raised me, and I was a little piece of shit, and somehow I'm still alive. They must be good people. And so I bet they would vote for Trump. But like I said, these aren't regular Democrats. These are commies out here. Pumpkin, I live in a Democrat-free zone. I pretty much live in one of those areas too. Paul, leftists are no longer harmless hippies. Yeah. Yeah, fruits of their labor. Hippies were the fruits of democratic labor. They're not hippies now. They're Marxists. That's how you know. That's how you know. The symptoms of the problem. They're walking around cutting their own dicks off. It's funny, but it's not funny. Sparks, I identify as a free man. There you go. There you go. Here in Michigan, you have to respect pronouns or else you'll do 5 years in prison. I haven't had to really flex that in life yet. I'm waiting. Some shapeshifter come up to me with that bullshit. As long as they refer to me as Your Majesty, I'm not worried about it. I just know how that's going to feel when I deliver my pronouns to them. The Marquis glow in the dark. Yep. Cheryl, aren't they civil servants for us, the American people? They're supposed to be, Cheryl. The problem is they know that Americans are soft. You know how you make the government do what you want? 1776. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. And like I say all the time, it is much easier to vote for the Orange Eagle November 5th than it is to go fight in a revolution, to fight in a civil war. The people say they want that, they don't want that. Those are bad times. Those are bad times. We got to vote the Orange Eagle in, and I assume he's going to stick to his promises. He did pretty well last time, and hopefully he can get things turned around enough to where we don't have to make those considerations anymore. And it's, like I said, it's much easier to vote for the Orange Eagle than it is to do the other. So we should just focus on that. Everybody is so quick to try and be combative and all this stuff. It ain't going to do anything but ruin your own life. Whether you end up dead or in prison, Neither is a good route. The best we could do, make good decisions, outlive those that make bad decisions, and focus on voting in November. Whether it's raining or snowing or fire falling from the sky, we will have to go vote. Otherwise, don't bitch about the way things are going around here, you know? So let's get into this. This is a message from President Trump, and this will be wrapping up our news for the day. But we have 2 videos. One is a feel-good video, or at least I thought it was a feel-good video. It's titled, "They Are God-Denying Demons." And then we have a funny video of the day that's titled, "Women Are a Threat to Our Democracy." And it's a funny video, so don't get all bent out of shape. Now, before we get into that, we have our last little bit of the news here. This is from President Trump over on Twitter, and it didn't have a title. It was titleless. So I'm referring to it as a message from President Trump.
We're doing everything we can to make it more affordable to buy a home.
A just-released housing index reveals just how rough the market is, especially for first-time home buyers. It showed home prices for the nation's top 20 metro areas rose 5.4% from June of last year to June of this year, a record jump for that month.
The average home buyer needs to make over $110,000 to afford the average home. Home buyers only needed to make $76,000 back in 2020.
Mortgage rates are now at their highest level in 21 years.
86% of U.S. renters would like to buy, but they can't. That really speaks to a lot of pessimism here about the American dream, how it feels like it's out of reach. Home ownership remains the ticket to wealth generation. So this is just widening the gap between the haves and the have-nots.
She stands there and says on day one, she's going to tackle the housing affordability crisis in our country.
But day one for Kamala was 3.5 years ago.
What the hell have you been doing for all that time?
We should be.
So that was the last little bit of our news there. Message from President Trump. Hannah Harris is a no-go. Well, we're going to read through the chat really quick, see what you hooligans got going on. And then after that, we are going to be getting into our fun stuff of the day. Like I said, we have a feel-good video, and I think this guy's right on the money. This guy right here, he's on the money. And then we got a funny video of the day. It's going to make everyone laugh. I know I said woman in the title, and everybody's getting their mad Twitter fingers already, but it's okay because it's a funny video. It's not offensive to anybody. My title might be, but the video's not. Either way, we're going to read through the chat really quick, and we got the fun stuff coming up next. Holy shit. Did you guys hear that? Somebody just slammed their door too hard. Too damn hard. You hear that, Klaus Daniels? Put the gun down. Put the gun down. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. Jesus loves us. You can't be slamming doors around here. You got this fucking hooligan cat over here. Holy. Disturbing his nap. I don't recommend it. Just saying. Russell Biden has tried to destroy the American dream. I agree. Holy shit. I'm having me a time right now. Okay, give me a second because I think I gotta let the mail guy in. So just a moment. I'll be right back. Holy. Holy. All right, never fails. All right, hooligans. Anyways, reading through a little bit more before we get into our funny stuff. Told Karen, no, I'm not putting a vest on. I figured he was a male person. Now I'm all out of breath. Jeb, insert the Jeopardy theme. I know, I was just thinking I need a waiting screen. Free speech. Klaus ain't having no catnap. Not with people ringing the buzzer and slamming the doors. I didn't even think about that. My brain got erased when the buzzer went off. I should have looked around to see who was slamming doors. Paul, the housing crisis has a multitude of causes. Yep. I know, I'm feeling it. When I first moved into this apartment, I did not want to be here. I was living in a house on 10 acres of property with some woman that was pretty much holding me captive for 10 years. And when I moved, I didn't want to move into a little shitty apartment. I wanted a house. So I did all kinds of stuff to try and get a mortgage, and they wouldn't give me anything because I owe $40,000 in student loan debt. So a few months ago, 3 months ago or so, I gave it another try to see if I could get a mortgage, and this time I was approved for $125,000, which was really exciting because I couldn't get a handshake the last time, and not much has changed since then and now. My credit score is 791 or 792 or something like that, and they told me they'd give me $125,000. Well, that's great and all, except for the cheapest house around me is $500,000. So for a 1-story, 2-bedroom house in the middle of nowhere, about 40 minutes from Lake Michigan, is $500,000. So here I am in my tiny little apartment with crazy restrictions and everything else, and it fucking sucks. So it's always rough covering those videos where they're like, yeah, Americans can't buy a house. I know. I'm one of them. I'd have to have like 15 roommates or something in order to get approved for a mortgage. When's your birthday, Screaming Eagle? Is it today? I'm waiting for Cadillacs to show up because it's Cadillac's birthday too. Is it today, Screaming Eagle? Mr. B knew he has to get the mail before it's stolen. No, I'm just letting the people in. I don't have to worry about them stealing my mail. I kind of wish somebody would. I would take them to court hardcore. Get some of this energy out. Mama Beans. Higher housing prices means higher property taxes. More money for the government. Yeah, I have a buddy that just bought a house. I don't know how much it was. $250,000 or something, but he lives like 40 minutes from me. And they had to do the property tax for the first time. And they were not happy about it. They were not happy about it at all. What's up, Freedom Liberty? Happy freedom to you. Well, happy birthday to you, Screaming Eagle. If today's your birthday, I appreciate you spending the day with us. I hope today kicks ass for you. I might have to say happy birthday to Cadillacs too. I keep forgetting and remembering over and over again. It is your birthday, Screaming Eagle? Yeah, I hope today's awesome for you. Have fun, but be safe out there today. Appeal to heaven. If the woman that held you hostage has 10 acres, ask to buy 1 acre from her. Build or put one small mobile home on it. Even with your back debt, you should be able to get that. They'd be breaking into the house and everything else. I had to go to court to get away from this person. Like, they're not selling me anything. They're not selling me anything. It was messy. It was messy and not good. Freedom Liberty, $250,000 cheap. Yeah, that's what I told him when he told me. I was like, man, that's a deal. Sam Hooligan roommates? Yeah, but you'd all have to be on the mortgage. Snooks. How do you open the door in just your unders? Oh, I got shorts on today. Sam will start a compound. That's the plan. We'll just explain to them when they come to Hooliganville. They'll be like, all of you guys moved here? Well, we wanted an island, but we couldn't afford it. We ended up in Hooliganville. Like, I think I told you guys before, Hell, Michigan is for sale. I can't remember how much it is. We looked it up. It's a lot. It's a lot. But Hell, Michigan's for sale. We could buy it and then turn around. You know, that's Hooliganville right there. Flea speech. Same here. Moved from an island farm to mainland town. Matchbook apartment. Miss the freedom. Yeah, flea speech. That's how I feel too. I used to have fires. I used to be able to shoot guns right off the porch. I was so far in the woods they couldn't hear you scream for help. And I loved it. I loved it. But every day, this banshee would come home from work, and then everything just went out the window. I'd be fighting, and my stuff's getting broken and thrown in the yard, and the police are getting called, and my guns are being confiscated, and then they gotta be returned, and it's just, I don't miss that at all. I'd rather die than go through that again. Garlic Press, my dad's first home when he got out of the Navy in World War II was $5,800. Yeah, Garlic Press, I believe it. I think my dad's first house, he told me it was like $10,000 or $15,000. Like now, that won't even be considered a down payment on a house. Cheryl, I wonder where KJP will be working after the first of the year. I don't know. She's not even qualified to work at McDonald's, really. The Marquise sounds like a country song. Yeah, my life is just a long list of sad stories. I have all the makings of a country singer, except for I grew up in the city. Russell, hooligan hell. No. We're not going to call it hooligan hell. They would think it was something terrible going on over there. But really, it'd be the only place without crime in America. Anyways, we're going to get into our fun stuff here. But first, I want to remind you guys, for our last reminder of the day, if you would like to support the live to keep us running, you're welcome to use the Linktree link in the description in order to make donations. And you can do that by using PayPal, Cash App, Stripe, Locals, Buy Me a Coffee, or you can even send crypto. We're going to get into our first video here. It's titled, They Are God-Denying Demons. This is our feel-good video of the day. And like I said, I at least thought it was a feel-good video. And I think this guy is spot on. Let's go ahead and get this rolling.
Democrat, I don't even want you around this church. You can get out. You can get out, you demon. You can get out, you baby butchering election thief. You cannot be a Christian and vote Democrat in this nation. I don't care how mad that makes you. You get pissed off as you want to. You cannot be a Christian and vote Democrat in this nation. They are God-denying demons that butcher babies and hate this nation. They hate this nation. Get mad all you want to. I don't care if you stand. I don't care if you throw tomatoes, praise God. I'm about to throw a microphone up in his house. CNN can eat my dirty socks. You cannot be a Democrat and a Christian. You cannot. Somebody say amen. The rest of you, get out. Now, if you vote Democrat, I don't...
That guy is on fire. He is on fire. Love it. Like I said, that is our feel-good video of the day. Man, that guy was killing it. We're going to get right into our funny video of the day. Get this pulled up really quick. All right. This one is titled, Women Are a Threat to Our Democracy.
When she tries to help. When she tries to help.
Holy. Yeah, with help like that, you don't need enemies. I'm just saying. Anyways, hooligans, that is all the coffee I had for you guys today. I'm gonna drop this Linktree link to all of you guys. We're gonna read through the chat, and we got the Pledge of Allegiance coming up, and we'll be wrapping things up. We'll be live again tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time for Coffee with Hooligans. And don't forget, we're covering the presidential debate, round 2 for President Trump. I believe it starts at 9 p.m. Eastern time-ish, somewhere around there. We will be covering it on Kick, Rumble, jeffmaclive.com, or Twitter. So make sure if you want to watch the debate with us, you go ahead and be all prepared for that. We're not showing it on YouTube, and we are not showing it on Twitch. So if you watch on those platforms, you're going to have to move. You're going to have to move. Either way, we're going to read through the chat really quick. But first, I want to remind you guys, or well, it's not a reminder, but either way, there is the Linktree link that I just posted for you guys. Definitely go check it out and go join Discord. All of the links on my Linktree gives you the ability to make donations, join membership programs, or purchase merch But like I said, go join Discord. Discord is our free hooligan community. It's the best way to be notified every single time we go live. And like I said, we got the debate tomorrow. You don't want to miss that. We have a news board on Discord to keep you up to date with everything going on around the world. And like I said, the hooligans are there 24/7 keeping the conversation going. So definitely go join Discord. If you're feeling real saucy, go join jeffmaclive.com. Over on the website, you can watch the live, and it is the best way to experience it. Our built-in chat has more ability than any other platform. You can post memes and GIFs and links and custom emojis and all kinds of stuff right there in the chat while you are watching the live. We also have Hooligans Alley, which is kind of like Facebook or Twitter. It's our built-in social media area. There's no crazy community guidelines or fact checkers or crying liberals or any of that. It's just the way that social media is supposed to be. We also have forums to encourage open discussion. We have an arcade. We have an advanced messaging system that gives you the ability to text each other, call each other, video call each other, group texting, group calling, group video calling, and more. I'm constantly working on the website, making it a great place to be. So definitely go get you a membership for jeffmaclive.com. It's the home of the hooligans. We're going to read through really quick, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll be wrapping this up. Cassandra, love hurts. I guess. Trip to the ER. Snooks, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's supposed to take 90 minutes. Thank you for letting me know, Snooks. I'm excited for the debate. Russell, oh shit, she gets an A for effort. Yeah, I'd be milking it. She'd be like, hey, can you throw the laundry in? Nah, I can't. Remember how dumb you were the other day? Can't do it, sorry. Can't do it. But then they feed it back to you. You're like squeezing her booty. And it's like, oh, no, I can't. My head hurts. Like, yeah. Oh, I appreciate you, Breeze by You. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you, Annette. It's a damn good show. I appreciate you, Annette. Thank you so much, Flea Speech, for that $5 donation over on Rumble. I appreciate you, Flea Speech. Thank you so much. Says, thank you, Jeff Max, Snooks, and all you lovely hooligans. Be safe, be brave. Love from Denmark. I appreciate you. Thank you. Heck yeah. You guys are the best. Thank you, Lightman. Appreciate you being here. Appeal to Heaven, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Told to care, praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. That's right. That's right. That's what Ohio needs to be saying right now. Garlic Press, I read a good one the other day. The CNN has fact checkers. Yeah. Old fact checkers that are they're paid for by BlackRock. So you know that those are real facts. Those are real facts. Happy freedom, Debbie. DeMarquise, hallelujah. That's right. Hallelujah. Like Medea or whatever. Oh, I appreciate you being here with us. Live a review. Snooks, you look very handsome today. Well, thank you, Snooks. I appreciate the compliment. Live a review, you're waiting on truck. Yeah. I hate delivery. Hate waiting on it. All right, hooligans. It is that time once again. Appreciate you, Pumpkin. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, did the thing. Didn't mute myself. Let's get these bees rolling. All right, hooligans, we're going to read through the chat one last time just to make sure no hooligans are left behind. But like I said, we will be live again tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Time for the very next Coffee with Hooligans, and then at 9 p.m. Eastern Time to cover the debate everywhere except for YouTube and Twitch. We are not showing it on those channels. They will come after us and give me strikes and all kinds of other stupid shit that I shouldn't be bothered with because we have plenty of platforms that allow us to say and show whatever we want. So if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, like I said, you'll have to make your way to either Kick, Rumble, jeffmaclive.com, or Twitter when it's time for the debate tomorrow night. reading through them. We're wrapping her up. Hey, I appreciate you leaving a review. Thank you, Time. Appreciate you being with us. Thank you, Mr. Beansy Beans. Thanks for being here, Sam. Russell, you taking Wednesday off? Screaming Eagle, drive carefully. The police are concentrating all of their resources on traffic violations. I think you're right. Appreciate you, AR16. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Tony Rich. Appreciate you. You too, Garlic Press, and be safe out there. Hey, I appreciate you, Independent. Thank you for being here with us. Let me see. All right, it looks like we are good to go. You hooligans have a fantastic day and definitely be safe out there. Huge shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership programs, or purchased any merch. I really appreciate all of you hooligans, and I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much for all your support, and I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.
Jeff Mack. Jeff